Welcome back. We're joined now by Molly McGonigal, who is a graduate of the Rocky Mountain Treatment Center in Great Falls. Welcome to our show, Molly. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So can you start out by just telling us, when did you start using drugs and alcohol?
Yeah, it was around 16 when I really started drinking, and when I was in college, really started experimenting with drugs and got really into that whole party scene kind of thing. And yeah, so 16.
And then how often were you drinking? What kind of drugs did you get into?
Yeah, so it kind of they'd go through spurts of different things, really anything that I could get my hands on that made me feel different. I really loved that feeling. And so mostly alcohol, but also from 19 to 22, I had a pretty bad cocaine habit. I was going to college, so it made me feel like I could get stuff done, and I really didn't realize what it was doing to my body at the time either. So, yeah.
So when did you realize, was there something that happened that triggered for you, I'm in too deep, I need help, this is it?
Yeah, I was actually a very violent drunk. When I would drink, I was very violent, and that's not who I am as a person, and I just couldn't understand why it was making me act this way. And I woke up one morning from a blackout, learning that I had really physically hurt somebody that I really loved, and there was a gun next to me. So there's a couple times that I attempted suicide in blackouts when I was drinking, and so that was really a moment when I realized I'm not supposed to be 22 and have these things happen or do these things. It just really changed me.
So how did you get help then? How did you learn about Rocky Mountain Treatment Center? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I grew up in Great Falls, but I was living in Bozeman at the time, and had graduated college, but I was progressing towards drinking like almost every day, and towards the last few months of my drinking, I was smoking marijuana every day and drinking every day and could not stop. So around New Year's, I actually had an incident and was just really physically sick, and so I literally Googled treatment centers in Montana, and then I had an aunt who came and helped me get things together, and she said, Rocky was the first one that popped up, and it's from where I'm from, and so I just, felt like I needed to call that Rocky Mountain Treatment Center. So
that's great. And so can you talk a little bit about what treatment was like for you?
Yeah, it was the hardest thing and the best thing, I think, that ever happened to me, just because they didn't just say, okay, after 30 days you're going to be recovered. They were very real about the fact that this is a lifelong thing and you're going to be struggling, but we're here to help you and walk alongside you throughout this process. And so the horse program was amazing for me. It really helped me identify how to trust people, it was just amazing. And so I learned a lot, but I really learned about the root causes of maybe why I am an alcoholic, why I am an addict, and the fact that I am going to be this for the rest of my life, and it's a thing I have to work at every day.
And so you talked about that the people at the center said that they were going to walk along with you. Can you talk a little bit about the support they provide?
Yeah, so they do an aftercare program. So once you graduate from the program, they have a counselor that meets with you and other graduates every week at the center. If you're out of town, there's a Bridging the Gap program that they really push that gets you connected with folks in recovery who are really trying to help just people with this massive issues. And so that was really helpful. And then on top of that, just there's a number of events that Rocky helps with, and they're partnering with organizations in Great Falls to just kind of help people in recovery identify that connection and maintain that feeling of hope, because it is a struggle every day for all of us in recovery, but if we can do it together, then it's much more fulfilling and easier to handle.
So how long have you been sober?
So this is a tough one because I did, graduate from Rocky at the end of February, of 2018, and then stayed sober for a few months, had a slip up, and then last December I had another slip up, and so I'm not going to say that I was fixed right after treatment, but it did teach me the tools and the people that were in the treatment center and who I was able to create the relationships with were right there to help me and tell me, you know, you're not a bad person because you messed up or you made a mistake. You know, you can rise from this and we will help you. And so I've really honed in on the aftercare program at Rocky even a year after, because it's there for me to be able to focus on my sobriety.
So what are some of the obstacles that you stumbled on, would you say? Can you talk about just the struggles of trying to stay sober?
I think for me, the hardest thing is that I'm 25, and so I started trying to get sober at 22. And just being younger in sobriety, I think, has been a struggle for me personally, because so many of my people that I was friends with are still out there partying and doing things, but most of them, you know, have a stopping point. For me, if I go out and want to party or be socially acceptable, it just never happens. I'm always the drunkest person, or I'm always, you know, blacking out, or something bad is going to happen. And so feeling different, I guess, is another thing, but really just maintaining the fact that this is a day-to-day thing and that there are so many people in sobriety that want to help me, and it doesn't matter your age. I mean, it doesn't discriminate. And so I think that's been a struggle, and maybe just feeling a little alone, but that's, you know, with the territory of anyone's life, we all struggle with that. So
we're very close to being out of time, but I just want to end on a note of hope. Before treatment, after treatment, what's the biggest difference in your life right now?
Honestly, my faith, I would say. You know, this program at Rocky Mountain Treatment Center really brought me back to the fact that there's connection and that spirituality is a big, big thing for people in recovery. And I can walk through every day. There's struggles and there's trials and tribulations, but I have that faith base to come back to, and it just gives me this amount of peace that I've never had in my life before. So
awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. Molly, thank you so much for being on this
you.
morning and for sharing your story and being a story of hope for others.
Thank you.
Appreciate
so much.
it. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. We hope you'll come back again next week. Until then, stay fit, stay well, and stay healthy for life with Healthy Living for Life. We'll see you next week.
Healthy Living for Life is brought to you by Mountain Pacific Quality Health. We'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for future programs, visit our website at mpqhf.org or call us at 406-443-4020. You can also catch us on YouTube by visiting our website and clicking on the YouTube icon. Special thanks to Fire Tower Coffee House and Roasters. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions.